Deal with exponents. Deal with exponents first. Do you see anything out here? Is there anything out there? Circles. Circles now. But are there any exponents?
No.
No. If you see some exponents out there, you have to deal with them first. I don't see any, so I don't have to worry about that. Now I take a look at the numbers. Circle this or box this in. We're multiplying because there's nothing in between. So what is negative 5 times 3? Negative 15. You're done with the coefficients that are in front. Now take a look at variables that look alike. Do you have an x and an x?
Yes.
What did I do with the exponents?
I multiplied them.
You have to associate adding exponents with multiplication. Is there anything to group with the y?
No.
That just comes along for the ride. Keep in mind that all of these are being multiplied also. They're next to each other. We can't do anything with that until somebody tells us what x is and what y is. Later on in your science classes, that'll actually have a meaning. Or you can see at the bottom of the page, when we get to this next class, we'll bring in some geometry where x and y actually has a meaning. Maybe that could be an R or a D. What does R and D stand for in geometry? Radius and diameter. We're just using general variables right now. What's next? What's right below that? What number? 5? So tell me. I've given you a process. You will have plenty of time to devote 10-15 minutes to just focus. Do we see anything on the outside of these? No, so I don't have to think about that. What's next? What should I focus on? What did I box in? Number first. So what's 3 times negative 2?
Negative 1. I mean negative 6.
Right, because remember, you're multiplying now. Do you have anything you can group with an A? What exponent is already there? Put a 1 there. If you don't have a 1, put it in. So what should A now have? Add exponents. 1 plus 2 gives me a 3. Did we do this on the other worksheet? No. We were just grouping together like terms because that was addition and subtraction. When you have multiplication, then you got to start combining those exponents. What about the B4? Just bring it down. You're done. Number 7. Negative 1/3 x y 3. Is there anything on the outside of the parentheses? No, so I don't have to worry about that. Then I focus on what's in front. You can use the calculator. What is on the sideboard for fractions on a calculator? What do you use? What's this say?
Parentheses.
Use parentheses. So everybody do negative 15 times negative 1/3. It will look like this. Negative 15 times negative 1/3. Put it in your calculator like that. How does it appear on the calculator? Does it have a star there? I forget.
Yes. What? I just got 5.
What did you get? You should be getting a positive 5. Because what's a negative times a negative?
Positive. Alright. Right.
This is easy. It doesn't matter what kind of number is there because the calculator is going to handle it for you. Now, start looking at your exponents. What exponent is on the x?
1. Yeah.
So what should go on the result?
2.
2. I got a y4 and a y3. y6. This could be the easiest section of the year if you pay attention to the steps that I'm taking. First, I look outside, nothing there. Then I take a look at the coefficients. Then I start taking a look at my variables. Question 9. We have -18, m2, n2, -1/6, m2. Do we have something on the outside?
Yes.
I got to deal with that first. Put a big star next to this. Circle it. That's got to be first. That's important. So I ignore this for the time being, and I just focus on this. Everything gets that exponent. What do I mean by that? Everything inside here now gets that 2. It's almost like you're distributing it to everything inside. The M2 gets a 2. The N gets a 2. So that 2 goes to this, and to this. You end up getting sometimes exponents on top of exponents. Can you do this on your calculator?
Yes.
Well, go ahead and do that. We're going to create a whole new thing here.
-324.
What's a negative times a negative? You will always get a positive. Did you put it in parentheses?
No.
You've got to put it in parentheses, just like it is. -18, power 2, you will get a positive. What is the rule for a power on top of a power? What's 2 times 2?
4.
What exponent is already on the end?
Nothing.
Put a little 1 there. What's 2 times 1?
2.
I will hand out a rules sheet next class that will show all of the different rules that we're talking about. For like terms, for adding exponents. Now we're multiplying exponents. If I talk about multiplying exponents, I'm saying that you have an exponent on top of an exponent. You still have the rest of the problem. Rewrite -1/6 n squared. Now it's just like the rest of the problems. How do you take care of this and this? What's happening here if everything's next to each other? Multiply them. Do it just like you did the previous problem where you did -15 times -1/3. You have to set it up like this. It'll be negative. And what did you end up with? 54? 324 times a -1/6 on your calculator. What should go above the m?
5.
Up here.
Oh, that one.
Put a 1 there. So now I'm adding exponents. M4, M1, M5. N2 and N2. N4. Number 11. All of this is being recorded, so you can go back and look at the recording of today's lesson. It'll be in unit 7. Do we have an exponent on the outside of the parentheses?
Yes.
What did we do the last time there?
Distribute the parentheses.
Distribute it. That's not a good technical math term to use, but if that helps you remember, that's what I want you to use. That's what I use. So I'm going to say that the 2/3 gets the 2. I'm going to say that the P gets the 2. What's already on this variable? The little 1 there. What do you do when you see a power on top of the power? Multiply powers. That's going to be P squared. Here, you're just going to put that in your calculator. That's just like dealing with negative 18 squared. You just happen to have a fraction. So put in your fraction, 2 divided by 3 in parentheses, to the power of 2. I don't want the decimal. What decimal do you end up with?
0.4 repeated.
How do you change that back into a fraction? What key will do it?
Math.
Math key.
It's 4 9.
Or, what's 2 squared? What's 3 squared? Or you can let the calculator handle it. That's up to you. Last one. 13. 0.4 K3 1/3. Do we have a power outside of the parentheses?
Yes.
Everything gets the power. 0.4 gets the 3. K3 gets another 3. What's the rule for powers on top of powers?
Multiply, which is
K to the
9.
9. You've got a number. Just do it on the calculator. What is 0.4 in parentheses to the 3rd power? Since we start with decimals, we want decimals. If you start with fractions, you want fractions. Here we can do the decimals.
0.064.
0, 6, 4. They put a 0 in front. Do I really need that?
No.
No, that's why I'm keeping that. My other class, they did their quiz on this, and they tried to solve for K. Is there any equal sign here?
No.
No, you can't have an equation unless you've got an equal sign. That's as far as we can take this until somebody tells us what K is. And that'll happen in your science classes and in your upper level algebra classes. I need you to take out this. You have a sheet on radicals. It looks like this. We did 2 problems the other day. Did I give this to you yet? When you get into your groups, if you did not do this,
We're not supposed to.
we did the first 2. Right now, we're just going to do number 4. This one right here. Go to number 4. If there is a square root in front of you, I would like you to always do this. Put a little 2 in there. Remind yourself that it's actually trying to break it up into 2 parts. What's the square root of 100? 10, because 10 times 10 is 100. You got 2 things that you're trying to multiply. I've got a list of numbers on both sides of the board. This will be up during all tests and quizzes. By the time you reach the SOL, you've got to have this memorized. This is squares, perfect squares. These are perfect cubes. So if you have a 2 there that you just put in, you're going to use this list. If you have a little 3 there, you're going to use that list. So tell me, which number in this list divides 147?
49.
49
And it's
times what?
3.
3. So we're going to break these up. But you got to use the biggest number in this list that you can. What number did we write up here? 2. I have a 4. I want to break up that U into as many 2's as I can. So how many U2's can I write? 2, because that adds up to 4. Can I rewrite B into 2's? So I just keep it. You break up the number, you break up the letters. Now you do the square roots that you can. What's the square root of 49?
7.
Goes on the outside. What's the square root of 3? That's not good. We keep that inside. What's the square root of U2?
1.
U1. Do I need the 1? No. What's the square root of U2? Another 1. What's the square root of B? I can't do that. I can't break up a 1 into 2 pieces. I don't want halves. I want whole numbers. So the B stays in. Some of the numbers are going to stay in. The other ones, their square roots come out. But you're not going to see this as an answer. What's U times U? U times U is U squared.
Wait, so if you can chop it in half, then it'll go on the outside.
Correct. If this is a power of 2, a square root. That's as difficult as these are going to get. But you have to know which list to take a look at. Jump to number 7 for me.
We'll use the 3 list.
Number 7. We have a little 3 there. So I got to think of these numbers. 2 times 2 times 2 is 8. 3 times 3 times 3. 4 times 4 times 4. 5 times 5 times 5. If you ever forget this list on the SOL, you just have to use your calculator and do 6 times 6 times 6, and you'll get 216. The reason I wrote 1,000 down is because that's used quite frequently, because that's 10 times 10 times 10. You want to break this up. Keep the 3 to remind yourself that you're using this list. Which one of these numbers will break apart 128?
64 times 2.
64 times 2. It's trial and error. You just start dividing these numbers into 128. I want 3's. The X already has a 3, so I keep it. And I'll keep the Y because I can't break that apart. What number's on the Y? A 1. And I can't break that. I don't want to break that up in a fraction. Now, you bring out what you can. What's the cube root of 64? What is it? 4. 4 times 4 times 4 gives you 64. How do you do that on the calculator? How would you do this on the calculator if you couldn't remember that it was the answer of 4? Can you do math key? In math key, there's a little 3 that you can access in that menu. What's the cube root of x3?
You can.
What times what times what is going to give you x3? X. The y, I can't do anything with that. The 2, I can't do anything with that. That stays on the inside. You won't have any homework on radicals because we do all radical work in class. We're going to keep working on this sheet until everybody knows what they're doing. Cubes, squares. If you don't see anything in that spot, then it's a regular square root and you should put a little 2 there.
based on this.